My story of Willow. It was a cover of the first video I've done on the channel. Let me cap. That's cap. The first commentary reaction video I ever made was on. I don't want to say it. My story overload. We're back at it again. Let me show you how much PS that this thing is. I found out my brother is related to Peppa Pig. That's bull. Okay? How can your brother be related to? Nah, that's some of that bull. Nah. That's actually impossible that your brother is related to a cartoon character for little children around the world, around the planet. How? I'm getting a little heated because of how much bull I'm reading. Okay? I just don't understand why these channels have to cap so damn hard. But anyway, let's get into this video, which just has some of that bull. Alright, I'll see y'all in the video.
Alice, and I'd like to tell you all about how I discovered a big family secret. My little brother is part pig.
There's two things I have to say. First of all, the title said he was related to Peppa Pig, and now you're saying that he's part pig? That's physically impossible.
Yes, you're hearing that right. You see, when I was young, I heard my parents talk.
And you're related to Dora. Just look. They look similar as fuck.
Talking about my younger brother, Lucas. Lucas was 3 years younger than me.
Why y'all walking like that?
He was kind of silly, but I loved him. You know, like every sister has to love her baby brother. But I loved to tease him.
Now, let me talk about something. I never had fights with my sisters, okay? And then there's niggas brutally are beating their sibling like a damn banshee. There's even cases of people murdering their siblings. If you search that up on the internet, there's gonna be mad videos.
And when I caught my parents talking about how my brother had some parts of a pig inside of him, I couldn't help but laugh about it. So I began teasing Lucas about it all the time. Of course, I was young, so I didn't really understand what Mom and Dad could even mean by the fact that Lucas had something to do with pigs. I just thought it was so funny, and maybe that he was related to Peppa.
That's fucked up.
Pig. I made oinking noises at him, and when I asked him to come with me, I'd always scream, "Here, piggy."
Alright, that was kind of nah.
I even started calling him George instead of Lucas.
Do I have to say it again?
Why? Well, that's Peppa Pig's brother's name. I thought that was so clever. I know it all sounds really mean, and looking back, I do know it was. I wish I had been nicer to my baby brother. Nowadays, we get along super well, but back then, well, he couldn't stand his big sister constantly teasing him. I can't say I blame him. I must have been annoying, teasing him about all that pig stuff back then. I even told all my friends at school that my brother was related to pigs. I figured he must have been my half-brother or something because I knew I had absolutely no pig in me. Now, my brother wasn't too popular to begin with. The way I behaved made it even worse for him. But he was kind of an outcast far before I even began to tease him. Why? Well, let's just say my parents were always crazy overprotective of him.
I'm sorry this is irrelevant to the story, but this man got a big nose.
Of him. In case you're wondering, yes, it does have to do with the pig thing I heard them talking about. I'll explain soon. What you need to know is that my brother wasn't allowed to play outside, like ever. So while other kids ran around on the playground, he was forced to stay inside the school's building and be all alone. He sometimes read, other times he stared out the window. It was so sad. That was one of the reasons why he had almost no friends. But aside from that, he was never allowed to go to other kids' slumber parties or anything like that, because my mom later explained that this was because of my brother's health. He was kind of delicate, but I didn't understand it back then. I just thought people didn't like him because his father was a pig or something. Mom always insisted Lucas had some kind of odd skin condition, so being out in the sun was out of the question. Whenever he spent a little time outside, he started to smell like breakfast.
Said me being big brain, I think he smelled like bacon.
To me, it was always so funny because I could tease him about being made out of bacon.
Yeah, I swear to you, I did not watch this video on my mother.
Now there's something else you should know. Mom and Dad weren't well off financially, but it wasn't like we were poor or anything. That's why I found it so weird whenever I saw them stressing over medical bills. It was weird since none of us were sick. Sure, my mother had delicate health, like Mom told me, but he never spent much time in the hospital. Or so I thought. Back when I was a baby, my brother had gone through an operation, and another one was coming up pretty soon. The problem was Mom and Dad were still paying for the $800,000 loan they took to afford the first surgery, so a second one would be a really big strain. Still, they knew that they had to do it because Lucas's condition was growing worse. I found all of that out on one terrible night. Lucas began screaming in pain and he was rushed to the hospital. While we waited, Mom finally explained what was going on. Apparently, my brother Lucas was born with a deformation. Something of his organs had been on the outside when Mom gave birth to him. That's why Mom had to go through a C-section. In order to restore all the skin and tissue, the doctors used pig skin.
So you told me that's illegal, just to put pig skin.
And for the organs that had failed, well, they grew human organs in large pigs and then used them in my brother. The problem was that there was a second surgery coming around, and it would cost a ridiculous amount of money. My parents asked for loans totaling up to almost over $1 million. $1 million. Maxed out all their Visa credit cards just to keep Lucas alive. I was so scared, but in the end, he survived the surgery. I was incredibly relieved. Mom told me I couldn't hug him until he recovered, so I held his hand really hard when I went in to see him. Now I know the truth about my brother's condition, and I'm far nicer to him. I don't ever tease Lucas about him being half pig any longer, and really regret the way that I behaved before. Thanks for watching. What's the cruelest joke you've made ever about your siblings or friends?
I haven't. Thank you very much.
Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and check out other videos in the channel.
Well, you heard the lady. Just like and subscribe and check the other videos on the channel. But on a serious note though, hopefully you liked the video. I thought it would be like funny, but this man had the saddest backstory, like the freaking saddest anime backstory. It's pretty sad. You know, pretty sad, man. This man is like, if you put this man, I'm saying this man too much. I'll put that as my freaking Instagram name and Twitter's. But that's besides the point. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all in the next video. Stay. What do I even say at this point? And stay safe and don't.